Huntsman World Senior Games Active Life. My name is Kyle Case, and I'll be your host on this amazing journey as we attempt to help you get the most out of your life. Joining me in our studio today is my co-pilot, Jeff Harding. Jeff, how are you today?
I'm still standing, Kyle.
You're still standing?
I'm still standing.
Well, that is something. That is something.
After a couple of weeks of the games, yes,
that is. All things considered, that is something. So the games are over, as I like to say. Ding dong, the games are done.
Yeah, they're not dead. They're just done.
That's right. That's right.
And they're not wicked.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I love the games. I love getting ready for the games. I love when the games are going on. And it's, by the time the games are done, it's time for the games to be done too. And I love that too. It's all part of this, the whole process,
When the time comes that you're actually a grandparent, you'll understand that again with grandchildren. There's nothing like having them come to visit and spend time with you, but there's also nothing like seeing the tail lights as they're pulling away.
They go away. Well, There might be something to that as well. But all things considered and all things said and done, the games went really well.
They did.
And I feel happy.
Yeah, and there are a lot of happy athletes, a lot of people that are going home happy and telling their stories to their friends and neighbors.
And we know from history that when that happens, that next year they come back again with additional friends and family, and that's how the games continue, and that's how they grow, and it's just a cool thing to be a part of.
It's great.
So since I'm so happy, and
I can see you're happy. You're smiling, so I know you're happy.
And we know the health benefits of smiling.
That's right.
I'm assuming you're happy as well. Is that a safe assumption?
Very, very safe assumption.
Okay, all right. So I found a couple of things online about being happy and things that we can do to make ourselves happy.
Things that we have control over.
Absolutely. We have a remarkable capacity to make ourselves happy.
Well, I'm excited. In fact, I'm happy to hear what you're going to be telling me about.
Well, I'm happy to share them with you. I can't, obviously there are external factors, but so much of how we feel really is determined by ourselves.
Certainly.
And there are a number of things that we can do, many things that we can do. I wanted to share 5 things that psychologists and social science researchers have found that have the power to lift our spirits and keep them high.
Well, I hope I have at least 4 out of the 5 on the list.
I'll bet you might have some of them. I'll bet you will. Let's start with number 1 on my list, okay? Number 1, write down 3 things that you're grateful for.
I don't always write them down, but I try to recall on a daily basis.
Try to recognize
things I'm grateful for.
Well, being grateful is something that can really bring happiness and joy in your life. And keeping tabs on those things that make you feel lucky to just have them in your life or lucky to be alive is a great way to boost your mood.
Certainly.
They did a study at UC Davis. They worked with 3 different volunteer groups of people, and they asked them to keep weekly journals.
Okay.
And the first group, they said focus on a single topic and write down the major events that happened, just the things that happened. The second group, they said write down the hassles that they had experienced. And the third group, write down the things that they were grateful for. Mm-hmm. And of course, as we know, those who wrote down the things that they were grateful for ended up indicating that they were happier, that they had a better experience and a better life because of their gratitude.
Conversely, I'm sure those that dwelt on the negative had a darker, heavier feeling about themselves.
That's just the way it works, right?
Yeah.
That's the way it works. So be grateful. Be grateful for the things that we have. And when you have a hard time finding those things, just like you said, take a minute, pull back away, and look for things that we have. Because we have so many things to be grateful for.
And if you don't think you do, just look at the internet. For any
or watch
any other country in the world, or
look across the street at your neighbor or whatever. There's so many things that are going on in the world, domestically, internationally, in our neighborhood, and so much more. Well, people just really struggle through hardships.
Yes, some really hard things that are going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and so if we can just be grateful for the things that we do have, and it's just going to make our lives better.
That's right.
Okay, number 2. This is easy for us to do in this area. It's at least very accessible, and that is to go on a hike or gaze up at the stars on a clear night.
And I do both of those.
2 great activities, right?
Yeah, great. In fact, I have a wood chair in my backyard that I just will sometimes
That's your stargazing chair.
Yeah, I'll sit down because it's got a recline. It's on a pitch on the back, and perfect view of the sky.
Perfect. And we're coming up on a meteor shower too, so that's going to be even.
Yes, make sure you wear your shower cap.
Right. Because you never know.
You never know.
But awe is a powerful human emotion. It's awesome. That's why
the awe is there, because it's awesome.
And they've done a number of recent studies. They found a link between experiencing a sense of awe, which is that feeling that you can get on an incredible hike when you're just at the top of the mountain overlooking the valley, or down at the valley looking up at the mountain, or gazing up at the stars, as you said. And it reduces stress, and it leaves people feeling more satisfied. People who've recently had an awe-inspiring experience are also more likely to say that they feel more curious about the world around them, and they act more generously towards other people. So going on a hike and just gazing at the stars and feeling that feeling of awe can make a big impact.
Well, Kyle, I can see that they left one major awe experience out of that.
And what was it?
That would be watching the athletes compete during the Huntsman World Senior Games. That is definitely awe-inspiring.
It truly is.
All kidding aside, that is awe-inspiring.
No, it absolutely is. So that's why we're so happy.
That's it. That's got to be it.
Because we've just spent the last 2 weeks doing that. Here's another one that I found really interesting. The other two made really a lot of sense. This one was interesting to me. Experiencing that feeling of awe yourself creates joy and happiness in your life, but you can also get some benefits by sharing someone else's experience. And so they recommend for my number 3 to read an adventure story.
Yeah.
So they found a small study in 2012 found that even people who just shared a story or read a good book or read a news story or something that inspired somebody else by experiencing that vicariously, if you will, also left people feeling more satisfied, less stressed, willing to volunteer their time to help others, compared with people who were simply shown something that made them feel happy. So
that is interesting.
Sharing in that awe experience with someone else can also be very beneficial.
Yeah.
Number 4, this is an important one. Do things you do when you're happy, even if you're not.
Fake it till you make it.
Well, really, I mean, we've heard that before. We've heard that our whole lives long, and there really is something to that. They've scientifically shown that you can fake it until you make it, and if you'll fake it, you eventually do make it.
Right.
So I thought that was really cool. Experiencing positive emotions, even when you're in the middle of something negative, ultimately can change it around. It can turn that frown upside down, and have you ultimately have a positive experience.
Well, what it really boils down to, and I know you have one more, but we are in charge of our emotions and what we feel.
Absolutely.
And we can choose what we are going to feel. We sometimes don't think we have control over it, but we truly do.
And that's what all of these studies that I'm talking about have shown. They've scientifically shown it. It's not just anecdotal.
Right.
It's not just like good advice from mom or whatever. Like they've really shown that participating in these activities or doing these things or just making the decision to be happy actually does make you happy.
Right.
The last one. And again, this is a great one for our area.
Let me get the drum roll going.
Okay. Okay, number 5, participate in cultural activities.
I like that.
And there's so many opportunities around the world, around the nation, around the state, and certainly around our community here in St. George.
Yeah, like I'm going to a concert tonight.
I was going to say, you just had mentioned earlier that you're going to a concert, and that's a great way to bring happiness into your life. So visiting a museum, going to a concert, another way to boost your mood. This particular study examined the anxiety, depression, and life satisfaction of over 50,000 adults in Norway. So this was a big
pretty
sampling,
significant, yeah.
a huge group. And they found that people who participated in cultural activities, like attending a play, joining a club, they reported lower levels of anxiety and depression, as well as higher satisfaction with their overall quality of life. And so the message is, get out there and do something.
There again, another major opportunity for a cultural experience was left out, and that's volunteering for the Huntsman World Senior Games.
These guys need to get up with the times.
Yeah, I'm shocked they would leave those out. I am shocked that they were not there.
Studies in Norway that we're not making.
I don't understand.
We've got our work cut out for us, Jeff.
We do,
We've got to
especially
get the
in Norway.
out there,
Yeah.
especially in Norway. Well, happiness, Jeff, is within reach. It's within our control, as you said.
That's
we really
right.
do get to control that. There's so many things that we can do to make ourselves happy. It just becomes a conscious decision. And
That's
once
right.
we make that decision, then we can have that joy in our lives. And speaking of being happy, I'm happy to introduce our guest today, actually one of our very own.
Yes,
Michelle Graves is our Director of Sponsor Relations, and we're happy, Michelle, that you could be here with us.
And so is she. Look at that smile on her face.
I am so happy to be here.
She's smiling and rolling
Thanks
her
for
eyes at
having
the
me.
same time.
My daughter did that to me a lot, too. I don't get it.
Well, seriously, Michelle, we're glad that you could be here with us. And the games are over, as we know. And as I said at the beginning, and Jeff concurred, the games were great. We just had a great time. And so what I wanted to do today on the show is to just take a minute and maybe relive some of the good times, some of the good memories, some of the experiences that stood out. We all, as a staff, as a full-time staff at the Huntsman World Senior Games, we all have areas that we're over, specific areas that we are in charge of, that we're responsible for making happen. And Michelle, a lot of your responsibilities actually happen pre-games and then wrap up post-games. As the Director of Sponsor Relations, you spend time interacting with sponsors, and there are certainly opportunities to do that during the games. But you had kind of a unique opportunity this year as it was your first games with us, to kind of float a little bit and to see some of the athletes and some of the events while they were going on. And take just a minute and maybe talk about that as a first-time experience, first opportunity interacting with the games.
Well, it was a great experience, and I knew that it would be, but I don't think that I knew how great it would be. And I did have the unique opportunity to probably not have quite as much stress as some of the other office staff.
Why are you looking at me?
Looking at both of you.
Okay.
And it was a unique opportunity for me to really be able to talk to the athletes and be with my sponsors and just see incredible feats of athleticism as I got to just float around to all the venues and really, really be inspired by these athletes who are just kicking it in their old age. They're just remarkable.
And you had the unique experience of being able to give your father a medal.
Yes.
As did Kyle.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that for just a second. That was the next thing I was going to say. So you not only got to experience the games kind of as a staff member and you said that you didn't have much stress. Of course you had things that came up and there were problems that you helped fix and there were successes that you were a part of as well. But you did have a unique opportunity to watch your father play softball and tell a little bit about that.
Yeah, so he has actually participated in the senior games. I think 12 of the 13 years that he lived here. Just 1 year they weren't living here and he wasn't able to participate. But he has, I say that he retired to be near those softball fields, and having the games right in his backyard, I think, was something he didn't know about when he moved here, but it certainly plays a huge part in his life. So I've watched him participate for years, but as I've held other jobs and everything, I haven't been readily able to see a lot of his games. Yeah. And so it was kind of fun to be able to attend a little more this year. He played both weeks. He played with the 60-year-olds the first week and then the 70-year-olds the second week. And I missed the silver medal championship game or award that he got the first week, but I was able to catch the gold medal match for the second week. Which was the most
important one.
Yeah, which was so fun and so great. And they actually, our volunteers, especially our directors, they just think of everything. And they had all these groups come in to award medals. And I kind of felt a little bit bad, but not too bad, because they had the Dixie College men's basketball team awarding the medals. And I just, in my 5'2" stature, I just jumped in front of all those big guys and said,
I'm going to do this one.
This one is for me. I'm going to do this one. And it was great because our photographer captured my dad giving me a kiss on the cheek. And it was just a really special moment that really just highlighted the games for me and the experience by just kind of having that personal element.
Well, you're listening to the Huntsman World Senior Games Active Life, and Jeff and I are visiting with Michelle Graves, who is our Director of Sponsor Relations. This was her first year at the games, and we're all just sharing maybe some of our favorite memories, a few of the experiences that we were able to be a part of and experienced ourselves that made us happy.
Made us smile, cultural experiences,
all those things that we talked about at the beginning of the show. And we, at the end of the games, we always have a tradition among the staff where we get to kind of go around the table and share one of our favorite memories or our favorite moment of the games. And Michelle, you shared that, and I thought that was significant and just an awesome experience. I'll just share mine since it's kind of in the same vein. Those of you who have been listening to the show, you know that 2 weeks ago we actually had my parents as guests on the show, Kathleen and Wes Case, and they talked about their experience as athletes. And when we visited with them, my mom had just run the 5K and had done a great job, and I just could not have been more proud of her. You know, she ran that race and she just literally gave everything that she had. And it was just, as I said to the staff, it was terrifying and awe-inspiring all at the same time to see my mom just completely spent, and yet at the same time, she wanted to cross the finish line by herself and was able to do that. And it was just this awesome experience. And then my dad had not yet competed when we had him on the show,
Right.
Jeff, as you remember. And so the following few days he got himself ready, and then he went over to compete, and he had a great time at the Horseshoe Pits, and he had the kind of experience that we always hope that our athletes have. You know, he had been to the games before. He just had not had
As
the
a spectator.
opportunity to compete. He'd been here kind of as a spectator, more as a support to me, and driven around with me before. And I know that he had a good time, but I also knew when I was with him, I could see that he just wasn't quite connecting in the way that I had hoped that he would. But this year, as an athlete, man, he just really made those connections, and he just really felt what the games are about and had that experience and felt the spirit of the games. And he did just what we want our athletes to do. First-year athlete, never really competed before, so he's one of those beginners. We have all levels, beginners to experts. My dad was one of those beginners, but he just made friends with the people that he pitched against. He just enjoyed himself. It was just a great experience. And when it was all said and done, he won a medal. He ended up with the silver medal. And just like Michelle, I had the opportunity to present that medal to him, which was just great. You know, my whole life growing up, both of my parents have always supported me in everything that I've ever done. And they've spent so much of their time and so many hours driving around behind football games and wrestling matches and all the things that go on in a young boy's life and in a young family's life. And to be there and experience that on the other side, I just felt so proud of my dad, you know, and just so excited for him and the experience that he had had. And to be able to place that medal around his neck was again just a very special experience for me, one that I'll always remember.
Well, as long as we're sharing parental experiences.
Yeah, let's do.
My folks didn't compete, but for the last 9 years, they've worked at the track and field at the check-in desk.
They're a vital part of track and field. They've been great volunteers there.
And they've got lifelong friends, but probably the biggest thing that they've got is a little dog, a Yorkie named Scruffy. And Scruffy's the star.
Yeah, as all Scruffies are.
Yes, as all Yorkies are. And one year, a lady actually took pictures of Scruffy and sent him a Christmas card with his picture on it.
Is that right?
Yes.
That is awesome.
So they've experienced it from the other side of interacting with the athletes, but still the same kind of experience. They've connected. They know the names. They've made friends. Yeah. They've exchanged addresses.
Which is just how we want our volunteers to have that experience as well. And so many of them do.
That's right.
And on that note, I mean, I didn't know this before I started working, but it really becomes a family affair for our full-time staff. We all recruit all of our family members to help in some way or another. And I really think that adds to the community of the games. And I think that's one of the most authentic pieces of the games, is that it really is, I mean, it's our family, it's our neighbors, it's our community, and we all come together and we create something fabulous. And to me, that was such a takeaway, because I have run a lot of events and I know like the work that goes into marking a course and everything that needs to be done from A to Z. And I really couldn't fathom how that was going to happen with 28 sports in 2 weeks. And I was just amazed to show up at these venues where everything is set up and it's all been done by volunteers. It was just remarkable to me. And I think that just adds, I think we kind of have this Disneyland thing going on, like this magic, and it just really adds to the magic of the games.
Well, I loved what you just said, in that it adds to the authenticity of what the event is about. And like you said, Jeff, it really is true. It becomes an extended family.
It does.
Even as a staff, we become an extended family. And, you know, it's like you go to war together in some ways, and just everything that takes place behind the scenes, it just really bonds people together, and we get that chance to accomplish something great as a team and as a family. And we really do have so many of our family members that do help out, and it just adds to that. Your dad played softball, but your husband helped with cycling. Michelle, your parents have helped for a long, long time.
And your daughter.
My daughter's in the gift shop, and your wife is the chairman of the Global Cup Committee.
Yeah, and again, it just adds to the authenticity. And we talk about the founding principles of the Huntsman World Senior Games, which are to foster worldwide peace, health, and friendship. And that, that concept of friendship and family and love and the bond that brings everybody together, it is really what the games are about. And one of the things that I feel is unique to the event, just the way that it comes together, and a big hallmark of the success that we've had is that feeling that people have when they're here and that they become a part of. It's not just that they come here and then feel it, it's that they come here, they feel it, and it becomes a part of them.
Well, I think the thing that really brings it home to me, how much this experience we're talking about affects everybody, the volunteers and the athletes, is our Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
When we recognize people for their service, those that have gone above and beyond, we allow them to take a few minutes. Some take a lot of minutes, but we allow them to take a few minutes to express their feelings. And the most common theme is just the love that they felt and how important this event is in their lives.
It really is. It really is. It's something special. If you've been a part of the games, you know that feeling. If you haven't yet had the opportunity to be a part of the games, whether it's as an athlete or as a volunteer or as a sponsor or in any other way that you can interact, let me just extend that invitation. It feels like we're a long ways out again from the games now.
It's only 50 weeks away.
But it's only 50 weeks away.
Oh my gosh.
But who's counting, right?
Not me.
But let me extend that invitation. There really is something special about being a part of the Huntsman World Senior Games, and I believe strongly that it goes back to those founding principles that John and Daisy Morgan introduced so many years ago of fostering worldwide peace, health, and friendship. I wanted to share just maybe a few very quick statistics on the games just to kind of wrap us up today. Our event is the biggest of its kind in the world. I hear myself saying that a lot, but I think it's worth remembering and worth repeating. It's the biggest multi-sport event in the entire world that happens on an annual basis for athletes age 50 and over. There's nothing bigger, and we believe there's nothing better than it in the world. This year, we had over 10,560 total athletes, which is a lot of people. And the reference point for that is the London Olympics. That's bigger than the London Olympics. And so I want to share that number. We also talk about worldwide peace, health, and friendship. We hosted 19 different nations this year, 19 different countries at the Huntsman World Senior Games. So when we talk about it being a worldwide event, there really is something to that.
It really is.
Athletes from 19 different countries came to St. George, Utah to be a part of the Huntsman World Senior Games. Since we've started out, this year was our 29th anniversary, 29 years of Huntsman World Senior Games. Since the beginning, we have hosted 72 different nations. If you look at a map of the world and you see the countries that have been touched by this event, by athletes that have competed and participated in here, that's a lot. That's a big part of the world.
That is.
And we get new countries every year.
We do. And this year we had 3 new countries with Latvia, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. And once again, I go back to those founding principles of fostering worldwide peace, health, and friendship. And you think about Saudi Arabia and Iran and some of those Middle Eastern countries, and there's so much turmoil and so much conflict that's there right now. And here we get the opportunity to be something bright and a light and something that, don't tell me that a sporting event can't make a difference in the world.
Pull the world together.
Well, we bring the world together, and we bring it together in St. George, Utah. I think that's so exciting.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. We offered 28 different sports this year. We had participation from all 50 of the United States. We had athletes from all over the place that came and were a part of it. And once again, when it was all said and done, it was just a fantastic, fantastic event. Sometimes we talk a little bit about the economic impact of this event as well. We haven't really run the numbers yet, but we're estimating that the economic impact on St. George is going to be significant, the Washington County area, in the area of about $19 million. So a lot of just great things that happen in a 2-week time period. So just, again, a lot of great, really cool stuff. But you guys, that's about all the time that we have. We've used up our time, but thank you both for being here. And a lot of times people want to know, well, what happens next? You probably just go on vacation, right? Well, we've spent the last week, as you both know, we spent the last week cleaning up around the office. And then from there, we go right into producing a results book. We have to turn the website over because we start team registration on January 1st. We go out of our way, Michelle, this will be a big part of what you do, to personally thank our sponsors. We have a visit with them. We got to get our budgets together. We put together our marketing plan. We produce a newsletter at the first of the year. We try to reach out and approach new sponsors. We prepare for the opening of registration on the 1st of March, and it just goes on and on and on from there. It's a cycle that we go through, but there's so much to do, and it's just great to be a part of a team with you guys, to work with you to bring something special like this to the world. So if you want to keep up with us as we go through this process, you can watch what happens on our website at seniorgames.net. And until next Thursday, stay active.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.